Welcome students, myself Ghazala Chawalkar. Today again we are going to continue the same chapter, that is chapter number 5, Ocean Currents, module 2. So students, let us recall what we have learned in the module 1. We learned about the ocean currents, right? So what is ocean currents? It is the continuous directed movement of seawater which is generated by the number of forces acting upon it. We also learn that ocean currents have been classified on the basis of temperature, that is, warm ocean currents and cold ocean currents. What is warm ocean currents, students? Warm ocean currents, that is, the currents which usually take the warm waters of the equatorial region. These waters are light and move along the surface towards the polar region where they are cooled. Cold water currents, the cold water is denser and heavier, so it sinks downwards from the surface and moves slowly towards the equator, where on warming up it may rise to the surface again. We also learned the factors which are very much important, which have impact on the formation of ocean currents, that is, level of salinity, temperature, Earth's rotation, planetary winds and lands, etc. Students, let us recall, when does any material flow? Any material flows when force is applied on it. Next one, what happens exactly when it flows? When the material flows, it gets transferred from one place to another place. Which anomaly in the material is responsible for the initiation of the flow? So, temperature is responsible for the initiation of the flow. Classification of ocean currents on the basis of depth. You can also distinguish types of ocean currents through their depths or position in the water. Now, there are main two types of ocean currents, that is, surface ocean currents, which are also called as horizontal ocean currents, and deep ocean currents, which are also called as vertical ocean currents. Surface currents are basically driven by wind, and deep water currents are driven by variations in seawater density. Surface water, the region from sea level to the depth of 500 meters, is considered to be the surface water. On the other hand, deep water, the water currents beyond the depth of 500 meters down till its ocean bed, is considered to the deep ocean currents. Now, the ocean water can be divided, as we know, into two parts based on its depth, right? So we have surface water and deep water. The upper layer extends up to the 500 meters from the sea level and below 500 meters depth. You can see, students, in the given picture. If the water temperature is low, that time movement of water is also low. And when the temperature is high, movement of water increases. Water salinity also affects on the movement of ocean water. The planetary winds give speed to the ocean currents. Now students, let us understand the surface ocean water in detail. So what is surface ocean water? As I told you, it's the horizontal stream-like movements of water that occur at or near the surface of the oceans are called as surface ocean currents or surface ocean water. These are the movements of water that take place on the uppermost layers of the ocean. This makes up about 10% of the ocean's water. Surface currents refer to the top layer of the ocean water, which are primarily driven by the wind. Generally speaking, warm waters flows towards the poles and cold waters flows toward the equator. The flow on the surface of ocean moves only 10% of the oceanic water. The region from sea level to the depth of 500 meters is considered to be the surface water. Sunlight can reach till its depth. For example, students, as you can see in the given picture, that these swimmers are swimming on the top layer of the ocean waters. The surface ocean waters or the surface currents are basically large scale circulation of air which is mostly derived from the unequal heating of the planet's surface by the sun. Surface water is primarily affected by the winds and tends to develop a rotational pattern. Now these, that is the surface ocean currents, are controlled by mainly three factors, that is global winds, the Coriolis effect or the Coriolis force, and continental deflections. Let us understand all of these in detail. The first one is the global winds. Surface ocean currents are generated mostly by the winds, and their patterns are basically detected by the direction of the winds. Winds that blow across the Earth's surface create surface ocean currents. Different winds cause currents to flow in different directions. The second one is the Coriolis effect. As the earth rotates, wind and currents move in a curved path, and this is called the Coriolis effect. Students, as you can see in the picture, the arrow is been given. The black arrow shows the path of the wind without the Coriolis effect, and the purple arrow shows the path of the wind with the Coriolis effect. Now, Coriolis force is generated by the rotation of the earth and causes a deflection in the winds. Winds in the northern hemisphere deflect to the right, and winds in the southern hemisphere deflect to the left. These affects the direction on the currents. The gravitational pull of the sun and the moon also affects the currents. For example, the moon can cause high tides. The third one is the continental deflection. The landmass obstructs the flow of ocean currents and divert its movement. It divides the ocean currents to flow in a different direction. As you can see in the third picture, students, when the surface currents meet continents, the currents deflect or change their directions. Next one is the temperature. Ocean currents also affected by the temperature of the water in which they flow. Temperature and density share an inverse relationship. As the temperature increases, the space between water molecules increases, which creates a decrease in density. But as the temperature of the water decreases, the space between the water molecules decreases and the density increases. Cold, high density water sinks to the bottom, and warm, low density water floats on the top. This creates a cycle. As you can see in the given map, students, we have red arrows and blue arrows. Earth surface currents, warm water currents are shown as the red arrows, and the cold water currents are shown as the blue arrows. The next one is the deep ocean currents or the deep ocean waters. Now, deep ocean currents are the streams like water of oceans located far below the surface. These are called as deep currents. They are not controlled by winds. These currents are primarily arise from variations in the density of seawater and is controlled by its temperature and salt content, that is the salinity. Students, as you can see in the given picture, the water currents beyond the depth of the 500 meters down till its ocean bed is considered to be the deep ocean waters. Students, now let us see how deep ocean currents are caused. Now, deep ocean currents are also called as vertical ocean currents. They are basically caused by the differences in temperature and density, and these deep ocean currents are usually the colder water. You can observe in the first picture, students, over here, differences in the water density resulting from the variability of water temperature, that is thermo, and salinity, that is the haline, also cause ocean currents. In colder regions such as North Atlantic Ocean, ocean water loses heat to the atmosphere and becomes cold and dense. When ocean water freezes, forming sea ice, salt is left behind, causing surrounding seawater to become saltier and denser. Dense, cold, salty water sinks to the ocean bottom, which in turn becomes cold and salty enough to sink. Here we also have an example. As you can see here, the transparent tube. Example students, here we have a transparent tube. The hot water is represented by some red food color, whereas cold water is represented by blue color. As we know that the cold water is more dense than the warm water, so it flows underneath. Similarly, when you observe this tube, you will find that the colder blue water goes underneath the warmer red water. And as well as in the map, you can see here warm shallow waters, that is the surface water, which has been shown in red color, and the blue cold and salty deep waters are shown in the blue colors. Now let us understand the thermohaline circulation. Students, thermohaline circulation is a part of the large scale ocean circulation. Okay, it is a part of the ocean circulation which is driven by density differences. Now thermohaline derives from the word, that is it is a combination of two words, that is thermo means temperature and haline means or refers to salt content, that is salinity, and these are the factors which together determine the density of seawater. Now because of this process, that is because of this thermohaline circulation, ocean water moves from the surface to the bottom and from bottom to the surface. Warm water is transferred to the bottom from the surface and the nutrient rich cold water is circulated to the surface. Thermohaline circulation is sometimes called as the ocean conveyor belt, that is the Great Ocean Conveyor Belt, carrying heat from the tropics towards the pole and sending colder water back in deep oceans. Wind, temperature, and salinity are the important factors which drive them. As you can see in the given picture, in the given map, the red water is the warm, shallow water, and the blue water is the cold, salty, deep waters. Now students, let us understand what is a gyre. A gyre is a natural phenomena. It is simply a rotating current system that is comprised of the earth's rotation, that is coupled with currents and prevailing winds. So it is essentially like a massive whirlpool or a vortex in the ocean. So, we can define gyres as the circular pattern of movements of the ocean currents, which are basically formed by the global wind patterns and forces which are created by the Earth's rotation. Now, for example, here we have in the map Sargasso Sea. It is in the Atlantic Ocean. It is marked by the circular pattern of ocean currents. It does not have land boundaries and is only surrounded by ocean waters. It gets its name from the sargassum seaweed. Mats of free-floating sargassum, a common seaweed found in the Sargasso Sea, provide shelters and habitat to many animals. Sargassum provides a home to an amazing variety of marine species. Turtles use sargassum mats as nurseries where hatchlings have food and shelters. Sargassum also provides essential habitat for shrimps, crabs, fish, and other marine species that have adapted specifically to their floating algae. Now let us see measuring currents. Now the Sverdrup, named in the honor of oceanographer, that is Harold Sverdrup. It is used almost exclusively in oceanography to measure the volumetric rate of transport of ocean currents, and its symbol is SV. It is equivalent to the entire global input of fresh water from rivers to the ocean, which is equal to about 1.2 Sverdrup. Both the types of ocean currents, that is the surface ocean currents and deep ocean currents, are measured using this unit called the Sverdrup. While the ocean currents themselves can have flow rates of hundreds or thousands of Sverdrup per second, the total Sverdrup flow for all the freshwater sources in the world is only equal to about 1 Sverdrup. That is a demonstration of the massive scale of ocean currents, which is compared to the flow of rivers. Now, the ocean currents of the Indian Ocean. There is a similarity between the patterns of ocean currents of the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, but the flow of the ocean currents of the Indian Oceans are totally different. The Indian Ocean is a landlocked. In the northern, the equator divides this ocean into two parts, that is, northern and the southern. The monsoon winds influence this ocean tremendously, that is, the Indian Ocean. These winds change their direction according to the season. In the northern part of the Indian Ocean, currents flow in a clockwise direction, while if you look in the map, in summer, currents flow in a clockwise direction, while in winters they flow in the opposite direction due to the reversal of monsoon winds. Let us see the effects of ocean currents on climate. Ocean currents affect the climate of a regions having proximity to the sea. Proximity, students, here means closeness to the sea. In colder regions where warm ocean currents flows, climate becomes warmer. Warm ocean currents increase the amount of precipitation and temperature in the coastal regions. For example, the warm ocean currents flowing along with the coastal areas of Western Europe, southern Alaska and Japanese coast reduce the intensity of the winters and make them warmer. Thus, these ports do not freeze in the winters. Now, students, if ocean currents would have been absent, what would have happened? The ocean water would have been remained still. The biotic components would have been without food in such water. As a result, marine life and its ecosystem would have been limited in its extent. Effects of ocean currents on marine life. Ocean currents are an important biotic factor that influence food webs and reproduction of marine organisms and the marine ecosystems that they inhabit. Many species with limited mobility are dependent on the liquid wind to bring food and nutrients to them and to distribute larvae and reproductive cells. Even fish and mammals living in the oceans may have their destinations and food supply affected by currents. Upwelling currents bring cold, nutrient rich water from the ocean bottom to surface, supporting many of the most important fisheries and ecosystems in the world. These currents supports the growth of planktons and seaweed which provide the energy base for fish, marine mammals, etc. As a result, many fishes breed at these places. It has led to the formation of large fishing grounds, which include Grand Bank near the North American coast in Atlantic Ocean and Dogger Bank near the European coast. Now, effects of ocean currents on water transport. With respect to the water transport, the ocean currents are very much important. The study of currents was very important due to the shipping concern. Now, a knowledge of ocean currents allowed sailors to safely reach their destinations or to get there more quickly. Today, an understanding of ocean currents can dramatically reduce shipping times and fuel cost. If the transportation is done according to the flow of the ocean currents, the speed of the ship increases and the fuel is saved too. At places where cold and warm currents meet, there is a thick fog which is formed. Now, such fogs create problems for the transportation. The warm Gulf Stream and the cold Labrador currents meet near the Newfoundland Islands. Now, because of this, there is a dense fog which is created, and because of the cold currents, icebergs are also carried away from the polar areas. Now, if such kinds of icebergs come along the marine routes, they are very much hazardous for the ship. Now, there is a classic example you can see here, Titanic ship, that is British luxury passenger liner RMS, that is Royal Mail ship. The immediate cause of the Titanic demise was a collision with an iceberg that caused the ocean liner to sink on April 14, 1912, just 4 days after leaving Southampton, England, on its maiden voyage to New York. Students, here we have a figure 5.4 representing ocean currents. It's on page number 31 of your textbook. Now the map shows the continents and oceans of the world. In the index down you can see we have two arrows, a arrow with one with in pink color showing the warm currents and blue color arrows representing cold currents. So all the arrows are indicating the world ocean currents. Now, based on this, answer the following questions. Now, the first one, what are the major types of ocean currents? Now, the major types of ocean currents are warm currents and cold currents. What do you call the currents flowing from the equator to the poles? The currents which are flowing from the equator towards the pole are called as the warm ocean currents. Next one, what do you call the currents flowing from the poles to the equator? The currents flowing from the poles to the equator are called as the cold ocean currents. When the currents are moving in a circular manner, what differences is visible in their direction in northern and southern hemisphere respectively? See, when the currents are moving in a circular manner, we see that currents flow in clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and in the anti-clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. Now, what might happen at places where these currents meet? When these currents meet, planktons, vegetation, algae, etc., which is food for fish, might grow at that place. Thick fog might also be formed. So, these are the reasons which are seen when the currents meet. When two different types of currents meet along coast, then what type of human settlements and occupations are seen? Now, when two different types of currents meet along the coast, linear settlements are seen and the occupation is fishing. Let us have a quick recap of what we have learned today. We learned the classification of ocean currents on the basis of its depth. So, on the basis of depth, we have deep ocean currents and surface ocean currents. Surface ocean currents are also called as horizontal ocean currents, which are basically caused by differences in temperature and salinity. Whereas deep ocean currents are also called as vertical ocean currents, which are caused by differences in density and temperatures, that is, water masses rise and fall. Now, both the currents, that is, the deep ocean currents and the vertical ocean currents, have been measured by a unit called the Sverdrup unit. Surface ocean currents are mainly controlled by three factors, that is the global winds, Coriolis force and continental deflections. Whereas deep ocean currents lead to the thermohaline circulation, that is, because of these circulation, ocean water moves from the surface to the bottom and from the bottom to the surface. Warm water is transferred to the bottom from the surface and the nutrient-rich cold water is circulated to the surface. Gyres. These are the circular pattern of the movements of ocean currents which give rise to a certain peculiar features in the ocean. They are called as gyres. Gyres is a natural phenomena, that is, it is essentially like a massive whirlpool or a vortex in the ocean, coupled with currents and prevailing winds. We also learned the effects of ocean currents on climate, marine life and water transport. Thank you students for listening and watching my video. I hope that you like my video. Thank you very much.